Drone taxis poised for takeoff? That and more on Korea Technology Weekly. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. J.R. Reagan. In this episode, we'll be discussing South Korea's air taxi roadmap to develop an urban air mobility service, or UAM. Fast moving from fiction to reality, these flying cars are considered a part of the future of transportation systems. Recently, an agreement was signed to set up a UAM system and infrastructure to connect the busy Incheon International Airport and Korea's capital city of Seoul to reduce a typical journey of more than 1 hour to just 20 minutes without additional carbon emissions. Under what is called the Korea K-UAM roadmap, these air taxis will provide designated routes for UAM services between the country's main gateway airport and several nearby city areas. The plan is for air taxi services to be set up and tested by 2024, with the aim to commercialize air taxis by 2025. The long-term vision is to establish a comprehensive transportation system that directly connects air taxi stations and land transportation such as railway, bus, and taxis. To achieve this vision, recently a consortium was formed under the name UAM Team Korea, and it includes a group of 37 entities including central government and regional governments, research entities, academia, public institutions, and private companies to develop candidate areas for UAM demonstration routes and target cities. According to market analysis, Korea's UAM market is expected to reach 13 trillion Korean won, which is about 11.7 billion US dollars by 2040. It's also expected to result in commercial drone production, adding an additional 4.2 trillion Korean won, which is about 3.5 billion US dollars to the Korean economy, and 158,000 jobs being created through connected services. As part of a series of ongoing tests of unmanned drone taxis aimed at easing urban traffic congestion in South Korea, an event was hosted in November 2019 by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport and the Seoul City government to demonstrate a UAM ecosystem, including personal air vehicles, or PAVs. During this demonstration, an autonomous drone taxi flight test successfully landed after a 7-minute flight, carrying 80 kilograms of rice as its passenger. This is the third successful demonstration flight in South Korea for an autonomous drone taxi to show off the passenger transport, emergency response, and air tourism potential. The all-electric 2-passenger autonomous air taxi used in the demonstration is manufactured by the Chinese air mobility company EHang. Dubbed the EHang 216, it features 16 independent rotors mounted in pairs on 8 arms that surround the cabin. It can reach a top speed of 130 kilometers per hour, which is about 80 miles per hour. It cruises at around the 100 kilometer an hour mark and has a flight time of 21 minutes per full electric charge. It was only recently that air taxis became a priority for Korea. Similar to the rest of the world, for decades, drones in South Korea have been primarily used by the military, while often being viewed as futuristic toys. The past few years, however, have seen a significant expansion of drone usage into areas beyond the traditional military domain. With technological innovations, both private and public sectors have come to realize the enormous potential of drones. Some estimates suggest that between 2015 and 2020, the commercial and civilian drone global market grew annually by 19%, with the total shipment of drones forecasted to reach 2.4 million by 2023. Given the expectation of explosive growth in the commercial and civilian drone market, the South Korean government and key industries have begun to develop strategies and commit key R&D investment to accelerate development. In December 2017, the Korean government designated unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs, as one of the 8 leading industries for innovative growth and began laying out a 10-year master plan aimed to promote the country's drone industry. This includes growing the local UAV market to 4.4 trillion Korean won, which is about 3.9 billion US dollars, commercializing 53,000 drones and enhancing the country's drone technological prowess to become one of the world's top 5 UAV powerhouses by 2026. Korea also formalized an additional national roadmap called the Act for Promoting Drone Usage, which became effective in May of 2020. Its goals are to clarify regulatory requirements and provide frameworks for market development, including a national government 5-year planning cycle. Special free drone zones were also designated where drones can be freely tested in selected cities, and the establishment of an Unmanned Aircraft Systems Traffic Management, or UTM. Given the government's emphasis on drones as a strategic national priority, Korean companies have seized on this new market opportunity. Hyundai Motor showcased its plans for mobility services at CES 2020, including reconfiguring its business structure for 2 pillars: smart mobility device and smart mobility services. It unveiled the SA-1 UAM solution, an electric vertical takeoff and landing, or eVTOL vehicle, and forged a partnership with Uber Elevate to develop Uber Air Taxis. In August of 2020, Hyundai Motor partnered with the Urban Airport in the UK to develop UAM infrastructure in 2 cities in Great Britain. Korea's Hanwha Systems also has designs on the air taxi market. In July 2019, Hanwha Systems announced a $25 million equity investment in K4 Aeronautics, a U.S. personal air vehicle or PAV developer, followed by the acquisition of a 30% stake in Overair, a U.S. vertical takeoff and landing company. Recently, it has unveiled a mock-up of its air taxi called Butterfly, which is under joint development with Overair. Doosan Mobility Innovation, which specializes in hydrogen fuel cell technology, showcased its DS-30 drone equipped with a fuel cell power pack and a hydrogen tank, and can fly for 2 hours with a distance up to 80 kilometers or about 50 miles. The DS-30 aerial vehicle was used in April 2020 to supply COVID face masks for residents in islands off the coast of Korea. This real-world example of drone delivery highlights the broader vision of not just air taxis for humans, but an air logistics drone network to connect mainland Korea and its more than 3,000 islands beginning in 2021. It's anticipated that parcel-carrying drones could operate in rural areas after 2022, with such operations expanding to urban regions by 2025. The goal is to make drones able to carry 10 kilograms of cargo up to 5 kilometers at an initial stage, ultimately moving to drones that can carry 10 people or 1 ton of freight for up to 500 kilometers. A startup company called Pablo Air recently demonstrated Korea's first trial of a long-range oversea drone delivery. Covering a distance of 57 kilometers, it delivered packages to offshore islands that currently uses 10 passenger ships to perform the same services. The startup is also developing a drone operating platform capable of managing 100 logistics drones simultaneously. To support this project, Korea has provided exclusive drone takeoff and landing areas in designated islands and mainland port facilities. The Korean Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transport recently said that new measures are being planned to enable all these initiatives, including expanding on how drones are flown, what they can carry, and where they can fly. The ministry said that while drones are at present only allowed to fly in areas with almost no people, this will be changed so they can move over dense population areas beginning in 2025. To facilitate such changes, the government aims to give more leeway that can allow UAVs to use data and aerial images they collect for diverse purposes. In addition, a drone traffic management system will be introduced along with a flight information network to regulate so-called drone space. The ministry said that while many rules will be changed, new regulations will invariably be created, like no-fly zones around critical areas such as airports and nuclear power plants. Drone detection radars and jamming systems are also under development. Additionally, South Koreans who own drones that have a maximum takeoff weight of over 2 kilograms will need to register them as they do their cars starting from next year. While flying taxis and other autonomous vehicles in the skies may sound like science fiction at the moment, the technology is coming closer and closer to reality. Drone taxis seem poised for takeoff. That's all for this week's show. Follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn at Idea Explorer or my website ideaexplorer.com. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions about the show and tune in next week for more news and trends about Korea technology.